review interval was reduced from 5 years to 3 years. Also, over 160,000 passengers across the country benefited from the end-of-the-year transportation subsidy program. The government provided free train service and a 50% subsidy on transport fares to passengers traveling on 30 routes serviced by bus operators. While the government is finalizing arrangements for the release of CNG-powered vehicles, it recently directed relevant agencies to improve access to conversion kits and service centers in the country.
Will continue to do what
the latest of intervention in the works from the center is the distribution of 740 trucks of bags of rice across the country. The 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory are now in receipt of 20 trucks each. Standing on its principle of inclusiveness, the federal government says it is putting measures in place to ensure that this batch of intervention gets to the targeted, most affected Nigerians. From the State House, Musbah, then Wahab, Nta News.
And Primate of the Church of Nigerian Anglican Communion, Most Reverend Henry Ndukuba, is calling on organizers of the planned protest to show restraint while acknowledging the constitutional rights of citizens to protest. Ndukuba says the condition is not right for mass demonstration given the state of the nation.
Given the economic, security, political situation, and indeed the apparent hunger and anger in our nation, we call for restraint and for caution for all the organizers and those who want to participate in this demonstration. We plead for patience on the part of the people. We commend the federal government for the steps taken so far to address the situation and complaints of the people. But those who speak for the government should tone down their rhetorics to be more conciliatory.
The Anglican Primate also calls on law enforcement agencies to be cautious in handling the situation if it goes ahead, while advising dialogue as a way forward. Now, a non-governmental or non-confrontational approach to issues is described as a veritable way to solve any problem in human society. This is the position of the National Tricycle and Motorcycle Owners and Riders Association of Nigeria on the planned nationwide protest. The association, while dissociating itself from the protest during a media briefing in Abuja, decides to continue to engage the government through constructive discussions rather than being confrontational. Abdullahi Ajia reports.
As the calls to shun a planned nationwide protest continue to reverberate across the country, the leadership of the National Tricycle and Motorcycle Owners and Riders Association of Nigeria, NATOMORAS, with the support of NOGALS, has prevailed on its members to say no to the protest, given the reason that it is always better to trash issues through dialogue than violent means.
After carefully consideration and deliberation among our members, and we have decided to disassociate ourselves from the planned protest. We believe that mindful change and progress are achieved through dialogue, cooperation, and mutual respect.
We recognize the significant stride the federal government has made in fulfilling their promises to our community. Engaging in the protest at this crucial, critical juncture will be counterproductive and will jeopardize the progress that has been achieved thus far.
The association, while enumerating various policies targeted at improving the lives of its members, says time is required to benefit from the present administration.
This was a collective decision. Let them understand that there's always the time to plant, there is a time to germinate, and there is also the time to harvest.
The association's top echelons is expected to sensitize its members across the country as they keep hope alive for the government to deliver on its promises, which they said are beginning to yield results in some areas. In Abuja, Abdullah Hajia, Nta News.
We have some stories from the Federal Safety to Free Our Roads. These and more when we return. The federal government has formally floated Operation Free Our Roads, an initiative meant to ease the impact of bad roads on the socio-economic lives of the people. Minister of Works David Umahi, who inaugurated the initiative, also handed over some parts of the Abuja-Kaduna Highway to some private entities under the tax credit scheme. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
Abuja-Kaduna Highway's construction project is almost 6 years in the cooks. With the cost of the condiments meant for cooking it getting out of reach, the renewed hope movement takes a bold step, changing the cooks and unlocking a new source of funding.
The president is in a hurry, to complete this project just like other projects.
More than 50 kilometers of the dual carriageway will be executed through tax credit scheme, offloading the burden on a contractor that has been leg dragging.
Mr. President directed that we should come back to the road today, and that we should hand over the 3 sections to the 3 contractors to complete. And our target is from June to get the job completed about May 29th, 2025.
These arrangements would allow for the project to go the concrete way. But the Minister of Works, David Umahi, came with another directive from Mr. President.
And the program is Operation Free Our Roads,
which is meant to free the nation's roads from bottlenecks.
Using the contingency in the contracts to procure palliatives and free all the roads. In the Niger Delta, lumps and sharp sands and stone base will be needed. But in other most parts of the country is to put stone base, use grader to grade it off after compacting it so that it levels with the existing pavement so that vehicles can move freely.
Now that all the contractors will be working simultaneously with one side of each of the road under construction rehabilitated, there's no doubt road travels will be more thrilling. In Abuja, Abdullah Mohammed, Nta News.
Between January and June 2024, there were about 5,078 reported cases of road traffic crashes in Nigeria, and out of them, 76 were reportedly killed, and 16,300 were injured. Corps Marshal Federal Safety Corps Shehu Mohammed revealed this at a strategic session of the Corps Highest Command. Oyemi Ajayi reports.
Strategic session of High Commands of the Federal Safety Corps with the newly promoted officers, and of course there is a need to set the record straight. disturbed by the incessant road traffic crashes in parts of the country. The commercial says henceforth all commanding officers will be held responsible for crashes in the different areas, while urging them to deploy a practical approach in tackling the challenges.
Commanding officers and all supporting staff must execute all action capable of denigrating the image of the Corps. Commanding officers will be held responsible for their actions and inaction. Also, to note that they will be held accountable for infractions committed within their jurisdictions. The FRC operation architecture will be overhauled to reflect a service-oriented agency rather than the opposite.
Now for the federal government, there are expectations with warnings to the officers.
The administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR has zero tolerance to corruption and indiscipline. You are therefore urged to live above board in all your engagements, as anything contrary to this will attract the maximum consequences.
The commercial, however, reviews the change in nomenclature of the Corps Public Education Officer, CPEO, to Corps Public Relations Officer, in order to place premium on strategic communication for a proper interface with the public and to add value to the corporate objective of the Corps. Oyeyemi Ajayi, Nta News.
Let's turn our attention to the 2024 Hajj Commission, as the chairman of the commission, Jalal Arabi, says the 2024 Hajj was one of the best organized in spite of the challenges encountered. He was reviewing the 2024 Hajj on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. An Islamic scholar and travel agent, Ustaz Abubakar Sadiq, however, appealed to the Hajj Commission to include Nigerian agents among the service providers to avoid a repeat of some of the unsavory incidents. Details with Ekemini Williams.
Performing the pilgrimage is a religious obligation and an aspiration of every Muslim who can afford it, provided they have financial and physical capacity. Conducting these annually has been the responsibility of the National Hajj Commission, and I believe that the 2024 Hajj was reasonably successful in spite of the controversies that have trailed it. Chairman of the National Hajj Commission, Jalal Arabi, provided some insights into what was accomplished, as well as the circumstances surrounding the shortage of tents, visa issues, and fatalities that occurred.
In the past, there were these challenges that visas are delayed, you don't get them on time, sometimes you go begging for an extension to do that. We're not so okay, why don't we address that so that we can have some concentration on the other sectors? So we did, and God helping us, we were able to succeed on that. We'll make sure that we address the issue of the visa on time, make sure that we shut that door so that we concentrate on the other factor that mitigates this.
Islamic scholar Ustaz Abubakar Sadiq, however, had issues with due compliance with some of the preconditions for performing the Hajj, as well as the performance of some service providers.
The commission can look at this issue again. Israel Khair cannot handle all the pilgrims. Let them handle the detent pilgrims. Let the tour operators be given leave.
Territory have been taxed on prioritizing tax compliance. The FCT IRS threw the challenge at the mid-year review briefing, where the acting executive chairman of the FCT IRS, Haruna Abdullahi, says the service collected slightly above 166 billion naira from January to June as the mid-year revenue. Aisha Uba Ali reports on this.
Meeting to brief the media about the service mid-year report, which ended on a positive note, with the acting executive chairman, FCT IRS, Abdullahi Haruna, who was represented by Director Tax Operations, Anuho, says the 2024 collection was 53.5% higher than that of 2023. Reiterating that the service is committed to boosting revenue generation with its outlook, which is in 3 stages.
On focusing on building a sustainable institutional framework and enhancing employees' capacity. The growth stage commenced in January 2024 and will last until December 2028, with the aim of achieving an annual revenue of 500 billion.
Among other crucial roles of the service is stabilizing the economy and generating revenue for the government to fund essential public services, as well as other key expectations, which include maximizing tax collection to increase government revenue and ensuring efficient tax administration by streamlining tax processes, reducing bureaucracy and fraud.
There is this harmonization plan. We have begun with the ministry department and agency that are regularly collecting information. And then thereafter, subsequently, our plan is to go down there to meet with the area councils.
The success is a clear indication of year-on-year growth. According to speakers, the service will continue to leverage on technology and efficient e-service portals in the revenue sector. In Abuja, Aisha Ubali, NTA News.
Nigeria has secured the hosting rights for the 68th meeting of the UN Tourism Commission for Africa (CAF) in 2025. And that's the news. Many thanks for watching. I'm Comfort Amadu.